If you want to increase your lifetime value of a new client by 3 to 10 times, it's going to come down to how you handle your client in onboarding. I want to break down some of the things that we're doing to help improve our lifetime value of our clients because, quite frankly, we want to work with clients for a really long time versus having to chase new clients each and every month. Let's dive in. Okay, so first let me start by saying this is what we're doing in our business based on what I've learned from my own coaches, mentors, our own experience onboarding clients. We've worked with over 500 agency owners to this point, and this is an area that I've dove into recently, and a handful of books that come to mind are 1, Retention Point, 2, Subscribed, and then 3, Never Lose a Customer Again. And in Retention Point, he basically says handling your new member correctly can increase your new member lifetime value by 3 to 10 times. And with a higher lifetime value, you can invest more in your marketing to get new members. And then that increase in marketing spend actually gives you far greater reach than your competition. I know you cannot scroll through social media today without seeing ads on how to get 1,000 appointments a month or get 50 to 100 clients a month. And quite frankly, if you really think about how businesses work, if you have to get 50 to 100 new clients, meaning they're paying you 2, 3, 5K a month, or the projects and programs are 10, 20, 30K, 50K a year, you don't need 100 clients a month. So anyone that's out there promoting 100 clients a month or 50 to 100 clients a month are probably selling something super low ticket, or they have a really bad churn problem. And the reason that they need so many clients each month is because they can't keep them. I've been in business long enough now to realize the value in keeping clients longer. And so I just want to kind of bring you behind the scenes to share things that are happening inside of our onboarding experience to help improve retention and also to onboard clients in a more scalable way. Because if every client needs to get onboarded in a one-on-one fashion, it's not that scalable. So what I want to do is hop here on the iPad and take you through some things that I've been thinking about inside of our onboarding process that we've started putting into place that we're already seeing working well. Now, there's 3 key phases to onboarding. The first one is we got to warm them up. Then we train them up, and then we start up. Now, here's the thing. I think a lot of people, and myself included early on, we overlook the gap between when the client paid us and when meaningful work starts to happen. And for some agencies, maybe you, there might be months of work before anything like client feels any sort of result. And that's where you start to see buyer's remorse and things like that and objections. So there's certain things we want to do in our onboarding to help retain early on, overcome some of the objections and reasons why people maybe left historically. So you might know why people are leaving or have left, and you should use that intelligence to improve your onboarding process. So here are some things that we do, or are doing rather, in our onboarding to warm up, train up, and then start up. So in the warm up phase, there are 2 things that are happening. First is we want to affirm the decision that the client made to make this investment. I don't mean validate the investment. We're not trying to say, hey, here's why this was such a good decision. We're just saying, hey, we're glad you made this decision. We're not saying anything around, I'm glad you put your trust in us. We just want to let them know that the decision they made is similar to the decision of others that are just like them, like your past clients that have gotten the result that they want. So we're just affirming the decision. We're not trying to justify it. Say, hey, congratulations. You made a really great decision to come into Alt Agency to transform how you do business so that you can finally have a business that works for you and not the other way around. In fact, you remind me of people just like, and insert a couple clients' names that were able to achieve insert result. The second piece we want to do is talk about how to be the best client. This is one area where I think would do a lot of service providers and agencies a whole lot of good, because you bring them in, you have a kickoff call, and you talk about whatever, and each kickoff call is different, and each client has different expectations. Yet in your mind, you feel like you're sort of the director of how this whole thing works. But when you don't have any sort of consistent, repeatable onboarding process, usually the client comes in and they start making requests, and you instantaneously move into a reactionary state. So a great great opportunity in onboarding is to actually teach them how to be the best client. What does success look like for them? How do they show up? What are the types of behaviors and activities that they should be considering? They might need to maneuver things around in their current schedule depending upon the time commitment to the process in which they're going to work with you. So you really need to highlight how they can be a great client and get the result that they came for, but within the guide rails that you've created for them. So in our world, we give our clients a whole presentation kit that they can use to do this and look at their exact delivery process. And you can teach your client to be a good client simply by showing them how to play the game on your terms. So here's how to get help. Here's some of the key things you're going to have to do in the first 30, 60, 90 days, etc. But you got to talk to them about what it looks like to be a good client. The train up phase, we move into two more things. In the book Retention Point, they talk about having, I don't have a better name for this yet, but something to file. So this is like a micro task that they are going to be able to do to check something off their box. You might be sending them login credentials to your project management tool or your members area where there's curriculum. You might want to send them an email that has the support schedule, the username and password, the link to log in, and basically say, hey, look, this is something that you should bookmark and save inside of your email tool so that we can come back to this often. You might include some of the guide rails and rules of how to play the game inside that email too, but them filing that away is one little micro activity that kind of gets them bought into the commitment of working with them on. Now, the next piece of that is really orientation. Some of the things that I've started talking about can be a part of orientation, but for us, orientation happens on a kickoff call where we break down our methodology, our principles, the implementation timeline, and we talk about who's responsible for what. We have them sign a formal agreement on what it looks like to be a client with us and what they should expect from us. So, hey, here's what you're responsible for. Here's what we're responsible for. Let's go sign an agreement that agrees upon these things. Let's identify what some of the low-hanging fruit might be for you right now by doing an assessment. Here's where you're going to go to get help. Here's what help looks like. Those are things that you're going to offer up inside of your orientation. Now, number 5 is a quick win. In the quick win, what we really want to do is engineer some sort of wow, some sort of delight. You know that maybe a part of your process, there's a cool tactic that you have in your back pocket. This would be a really good time to bring one of those tactics up front to demonstrate the value that they're going to get. Now, this might be an activity that actually gets them a client or makes them money. We have a couple exercises that do that really quickly. We have a couple exercises in quick wins that can get clients sales appointments really quickly on their calendar, and they're going to say, wow, in like 15 minutes, you already got a couple people on my sales calendar. Or, hey, after this kickoff call, you just helped me get 10 hours a week back by reorganizing my calendar and starting to delegate. So you might know or should know inside of your fulfillment process, there might be some low-hanging fruit activities that you can just move to the front of the experience that get your client some sort of win that they will find to be valuable. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be the entire return on investment, but really it's just a demonstration that you have stuff that works. And this is a term that we call time to value. How long is it going to take you to demonstrate value? Even if it's making money, it could be a $2,000 sale, even if your investment's $30K a year. To show them that this thing works is really the point. So we want to do a quick win that is really kind of engineering some wow. And then lastly, number 6 is really starting to paint the future. Now, one of my coaches, talking more, he says clients leave when they run out of future. You probably have felt maybe in your life, like I have, that there comes a time where you start to plateau. And I found that when I start to plateau, it's because I didn't have the next goal in mind. So, say you want to get to 7 figures, you hit 7 figures and you get there and you don't have the next goal in mind, you can start to flounder. Guess what? That's what I did. If I'm being real with you, all I wanted to do was get to 7 figures and I got there and I'm like, okay, now what? And it took me a little while to really figure out what I wanted. And just like with your client, if you can't show them what the future looks like, they're going to be hesitant and start to feel buyer's remorse. So when we need to paint the future, depending upon how long you work with clients, ideally you can show them what not only big picture, hey, like let's look 3 years out from now, but let's reverse engineer that into like a realistic 12-month goal. But now I want to show you what the next 30, 60, 90 days look like. Kind of a shorter window that almost you can feel and or touch. Sometimes it's really difficult for people to see even a year or 3 years away from where they're at right now, that you need to bring it it back into, hey, here's some of the first few things we're going to work on. So in month 1, here's what we're going to do. In month 2, here's what we could look like. Hey, if this is your problem right now, your first 90 days might look like this. But if your problem is not lead gen and it's fulfillment, your first 90 days might look like this. And it's really starting to paint a picture of the things they're going to be working on, the activities, what the implementation process looks like, again, what they're doing, what you're doing. But the point is, when clients run out of future is when they leave. And we need to paint that future for them. And we want to show them that future early in onboarding and often. So these are just some things as I've been personally trying to improve our own onboarding process. Obviously, I like to compartmentalize things into frameworks so that I can remember them. And so that's why within the first week to 2 weeks, we're actually doing these 3 things. So we have clients that are getting quick wins on our kickoff call that, depending upon when they signed up, is less than 2 weeks from when they enrolled with us. And that's really awesome to start being able to demonstrate some of those wins and also take them through how everything works, where they can get help, and really starting to train them on how to be a great client. These are just kind of 3 things that I've been zoned in on as of recent. If you're doing great with your onboarding, I'd love to know if there's anything cool that you do. So drop that in the comments section below and let me know what you thought about this video. I really just wanted to share something that we're actively doing inside of our business. Again, based on the things that I've learned and seen thus far, these are some key things that really need to happen in onboarding. And quite frankly, I don't see them talked about all that much. A lot of people just jump into doing work and then they lose clients because no result happened and they get taken advantage of, and there's scope creep and there's not clear expectations. And it's because some of these things that happen in the warm up and train up process were just neglected or overlooked because they thought they just needed to jump into fulfillment. But to handle your client correctly in onboarding could mean that they stay with you longer. And obviously, clients that stay with you longer can increase your lifetime value of that new client anywhere from 3 to 10 times. And I can tell you from experience, it's way more affordable to keep a client than it is to go bring in a new client every single month. So it's not about getting 50 to 100 clients a month. It's about keeping clients longer. And that starts with how you onboard them. So I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you're doing anything cool in your onboarding in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next one.